What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do a little team building guide here for the new Movie Heroes Extreme Super Battle Road stage that just came out on Global. So this is going to be a doozy of one because if we head over here and look at the Movie Heroes category, this is just a absolutely stacked category at the moment. We just got quite a few buffs for this category during the Worldwide Download celebration, and then right after with the Gamma 1 and 2 celebration, and then even another buff during the ROF Blues celebration. So there's just a lot of the newest, best units in the game that are on this category. So as you can see here up at the top, we have quite a few units to go over. So first we will go through, I'll mention all of these units that I think are probably the best, maybe the only units you should be bringing into this stage, and then at the very end we'll go over a few team builds that I have put together that could potentially get you the win. Okay, so the very first unit that we've got here from the Worldwide Download celebration is the Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Vegeta from the Cooler movie here. They are kind of an interesting unit to have first. They're more of an honorable mention than anything. They definitely are one of the more powerful units on the category. The problem is that they have all of this stacking that has to happen. So they're going to start out here with 150% stats, and then they get a 20% damage reduction. So let's see, they give themselves some additional ki here. Okay, so this part right here, they have an additional attack that's a 50% chance of being a super for 3 turns. And they also get this additional 20% damage reduction for the first 3 turns, which is nice. So that means for the first 3 turns, they're going to be getting potentially some additional supers here on top of whatever you have in their hidden potential system. And they are an AGL unit, so they're going to have some additionals automatically at 55%. So 40% damage reduction with all of these attack and defense raises happening, especially if you're getting some additionals off, can be pretty good. And they're greatly lowering the enemy's attack and defense if you get their 18 key super, which is not hard to achieve because they get additional key for each key sphere they select. Okay, so then they're getting some additional attack and defense and crit chance on their ultra super attack, which is nice as well. So overall, a pretty solid kit here. It's also worth mentioning they are one of the leaders you can use because they're 170% to movie heroes and then the additional 30 to pure Saiyans. So they receive their morale boost here. They get like a little transformation after they perform 3 or more super attacks and receive 7 or more attacks. So you're probably not going to see the morale boost in Super Battle Road because the fight is going to be over by the time they reach these conditions. So really this is all you have to look forward to in their kit. That's why I said they're kind of an honorable mention, because they're not doing anything absolutely insane. And if you get bad RNGs with their super attacks, then they are going to be a defensive liability for you, potentially, especially if you're past that 3 turns where they lose that additional 20% damage reduction. Okay, so moving on here, we've got Gamma 1. He is going to be, in my opinion, the best leader that you can use for this. He's also going to be 170% to movie heroes, and then he's got the additional 30% to accelerated battle and worthy rivals. This guy is an absolute defensive monster. He is going to be building up some additional attack and defense with each attack he receives, as well as some additional damage reduction with each attack received. He guards for the first 4 turns, which is huge for Super Battle Road. If you have 2 of this guy, one as a leader and one as a friend leader, and you can run them in opposite rotations, it's highly unlikely that the battle is going to last more than 4 turns. So basically you're going to have a slot 1 guarding unit in Gamma 1 throughout the entire Super Battle Road. So yeah, I definitely say that this guy is like probably the strongest Movie Heroes unit you could bring into Movie Heroes Super Battle Road here. Very, very awesome, kit that he's just super overpowered. And then he also has a great chance of evading unarmed super attacks and countering. So you might encounter some of those, because if you look at the enemies that we're facing here, a lot of these guys are not going to be dishing out like Ki Blast supers or anything like that. I can imagine some of these characters probably do unarmed super attacks, so yeah, he has a good chance of countering those too, so that's definitely another bonus to his kit. So next up we've got Gamma 2 here. He is not going to be quite as good defensively as the Gamma 1, and starting out like turn 1, he's going to be a little bit of a liability for you, because he does have to stack. He's got to get a lot of attacks off before he is able to build up all of these attacks, or all of these stats in his passive, but once he builds up, he's going to be really strong defensively. But yeah, the main thing to note is that he's going to be doing a crap ton of damage. He's probably going to be able to one-turn some of these phases if you get lucky with the amount of super attacks he gets or critical hits he's getting off. So yeah, this guy, especially alongside Gamma 1, where they share 6 out of 7 links, are going to be a force to be reckoned with. But if you're missing Gamma 1, or for some reason you want to run this guy as leader instead, you totally can, because he's also got that same Movie Heroes leader skill there. So yeah, this is going to be another really solid one. And then this guy has a high chance of nullifying Ki Blast super attacks too, so that's going to help add to his defensive capabilities for sure. Alright, so next up we've got the LR Gods here. They are another potential leader that you can use. As you notice, there are a lot of leaders on this category that you can choose from, so they are going to be a really solid one here. 170% to Movie Heroes, and then the additional 30% to Kamehameha. I'm sure that everybody knows how beast mode these guys are by now. They are going to guard on the first turn that they're out, which is really helpful for them. Allows them to get off some of these stacks to build up their attack and defense before they come back on that third turn and lose their guard. So yeah, potentially with these guys, or having them as a leader and then maybe a friend leader, you could be finishing off these turns in just like, or fights in just like 3 turns. So they might not even have to worry about losing this guard much. Could be very good. You're probably not going to see them transform. Maybe you could get like a transformation on the final turn of the fight, but usually when it's like your final turn of the fight, you only have like 1 enemy left, and it's not that lethal anyway. So it's not going to be that important, their transformation. But they are going to be still very solid leader and pretty solid, attack and defense going on for them. Okay, so next up we have got this STR Piccolo here. So here's the part where we fall off on the leader skills. Definitely no more like good leaders coming up. But this guy is really, really impressive because he guards all attacks. So that is super helpful for Super Battle Road, where you are fighting all types of different enemies of different types, because you can throw him in the first slot and he's going to be able to tank decently. He's got that 200% stats at the start of turn, and then he is getting some additional stats and a medium chance to crit for 3 turns after receiving an attack. So if you put him in the slot 1, he takes a hit, then he's going to get some additional attack and defense and gets that crit chance as well, which is very nice. He's getting some additional damage reduction per Movie Heroes category ally attacking the same turn when guard is activated. So because he guards all attacks, basically when guard is activated just means when he gets hit. So from the first time he gets hit, he's going to be getting 30% attack and defense, because Movie Heroes category ally is going to be everyone on your team. It says self-excluded, so just the other 2 units on the rotation are going to give him 30% damage reduction on top of all of these stats he has, and then after he super attacks, he gets another defense raise here and seals. This guy is just a defensive absolute monster. And he is giving some support as well, which is very nice. So a little bit of support here, and then he gives some additional support when there's an extreme class enemy, which there is going to be throughout the entirety of the fight. So that is really solid. He gets some additional stats here when facing only 1 enemy, and then most importantly, he gets 100% defense when facing 2 or more enemies. So he's actually going to have 300% defense at the start of turn at the beginning of these fights, because you're going to be facing more than 2 enemies there. So yeah, this guy's going to be a really, really solid defensive option for you. Next up, we have got Bird Coup. This guy is going to be really fun to use. He has the infinite stacking for his defense raises on 18 key super, gets the great attack raises on his 12 key, 159% stats at the start of turn, attacks effective against all types after receiving an attack. This guy's a little bit meh on that, because I don't really recommend using him in slot 1. He is guarding all attacks when HP is 60% or more, but I feel like he does suffer a little bit with HP, or with defense. He just doesn't have the high enough defense for him to be tanking like amazingly. So yeah, I don't know. His active skill condition is only going to be able to activate from the 5th turn of battle, so you're probably not going to see that But the most important thing to note in his kit is that he has this revive here. So if your HP is 59% or less, you're going to lose the guard mechanic that he has, but then you're going to gain the ability to revive. So, and this isn't just for him, it's for any allies attacking in the turn as well. So if you're basically protected, if you're below 59% and he's on the rotation, then if you die, you're gonna revive immediately, which is also very helpful to save on items. For sure. So this guy can be a pretty solid option. Definitely not like the best. He has some holes in his kit for sure, but he is going to be a pretty solid option for you, and he can deal out quite a bit of damage as well. Okay, so then we've got the Goku and Vegeta Angel. They are, again, another kind of iffy unit. There's a little bit of RNG with them because you do need them to get multiple super attacks to get these one-turn attack and defense raises for them to be really solid defensively. The 30% damage reduction they have in their passive just isn't quite enough to keep them afloat. And then their transformation here only starts at the 4th turn, so you're probably not going to see too much of that going on. But they are got a pretty solid kit here. Definitely worth mentioning as a fill-in unit if you don't have anybody else to use. Okay, so this LR Goku and Piccolo are going to be pretty solid here. They are just getting all of these attack and defense raises on super, and they've just got a million ways to do additional super attacks in their passive. That's pretty much all there is to know about it. And they've got some stat boosting that they're going to be able to do for themselves here. So if you're getting a lot of additional attacks, and luckily with some additional supers as well, then they are going to be tanking pretty well. But there is some RNG involved, because if you're not dishing out those additional supers, their defense isn't going to build up high enough to tank attacks on that turn. Okay, so then we've got the physical LR Gogeta here. Pretty solid unit. Definitely going to be dishing out quite a bit of damage. Hits very, very hard with the 180% stats at the start of turn. Built-in chance to crit is very nice. Built-in chance to evade is very nice. And then you're definitely not going to see the fusion because it doesn't happen until the 6th turn. So again, another honorable mention there that can be a good fill-in, but probably not the best for Super Battle Road. Okay, so then we've got the monster here, AGL Jocko. He is going to be one of the best units to bring, for sure, like hands down. So starting out here, he's got a great chance to stun, which is one of the best abilities that you can bring into Super Battle Road. He's got a 70% chance to stun the enemy that he's attacking, 140% stats at the start of turn, and then he's also got a great chance of evading as the first attacker in turn. So if you're running him in slot 1, he's got a 70% chance to evade and a 70% chance to stun. That's just like unparalleled. That is so good for Super Battle Road. So yeah, this guy is going to be really, really solid. And he's also lowering enemies' attack and defense. Well, if he's the 2nd or 3rd attacker in the turn, then he's going to be lowering the enemy's attack and defense, and he still has a high chance to evade, so he doesn't have to be run in the 1st slot. You can technically run him in the 2nd or 3rd slot, especially because he has that stun chance, so if he's only being attacked by like one enemy that you think is like lethal to him, then you could just try and stun that enemy so that you don't have to depend on him with his 50% chance to evade if he's the 2nd or 3rd attacker in the turn, if you didn't want to use him as a main rotation unit. And then he's going to get some additional attack because you're against extreme class enemies, and then he's also going to be building up with each attack evaded. So yeah, this guy is a super solid unit. I definitely recommend using him if you have him. Okay, so then following it up with another great unit for Super Battle Road, the AGL Super Saiyan Gotenks here. So he causes supreme damage with a medium chance of stunning all enemies. That is really, really solid because he is going to be doing an AoE attack that can stun. And then he's also got some additionals built into his passive here, which is really solid as well. So he is basically going to be, if you're lucky, going to be keeping a lot of the enemies stun locked to where you don't have to worry about defense or anything. I do intend to use this guy on my team that I will take into this stage. This is one of my favorite units to use in the game. Anytime I have the opportunity to use him, I like to. So yeah, definitely a really good option here. Then we got AGL Pycon. He is going to be an kind of interesting unit here for Super Battle Road. A decent support that you could run in like the 3rd slot. He's greatly lowering attack, which is helpful for Super Battle Road. And then he's got a unit super attack too, with units whose are Goku Angel and Vegeta Angel. or Vegeta Angel. So there are a few different units that you can run that will activate that unit super attack. So if you have that, then he is getting basically the same thing as his normal super attack, except he's getting attacks effective against all types as well, which is pretty helpful. Okay, so then he is also giving a support to superclass allies with 3 or more type key spheres obtained, so not too hard to do. That is going to be really, really helpful, keeping some of your other units that depend on their own defensive buffs to tank. He's going to be helping add to that a lot. And then he's also got a high chance to evade if you grab a rainbow key sphere with him. That is the main important part of his kit, because he is going to suffer defensively like a lot. He doesn't get any defense raises on his super attack or anything, and he only has 150% at the start of turn, and there's literally no other buffs here. Well, I suppose other than the 30% you're going to get if you get the 3 type key spheres, but that's still not enough for him to really tank well. So getting the rainbow key sphere helps a lot, so that he has that high chance to evade. And he also seals, which is another great thing. He's going to seal the enemy if you get that rainbow key sphere too, which is helpful for Super Battle Road. Okay, and then he's got this little Ghost Usher active skill. It's like a mini Ghost Usher because it only targets one enemy, right? But it can only be activated when facing one enemy, so it essentially is a Ghost Usher because you're going to delete all the attacks that are available. But the caveat is that that enemy has to have 50% or more HP, and it's starting from the 4th turn of battle. So this might be harder to get off than you'd think, but if you do end up in, you know, the later stage of a fight, this could be possible. You could have that one enemy left, and then you have, you know, it's the 4th turn, and then you can just Ghost Usher it and be free for that turn. Saves you some items. It's very nice. So yeah, he could be a very good floater unit for you. So next up, we've got Super Saiyan God Goku here. Tech God Goku is such a beast. This guy is going to be insane for one sole reason. He reduces damage received by 77% when there is a movie boss or Pure Saiyan's category enemy. Well, if we go over here and take a look at who you're facing off against, it's going to be the movie boss and their squadron, movie boss and their squadron, movie boss and their squadron. So as long as you keep Turles, Lord Slug, and Bojack alive during these fights and just take out all the henchmen first, then as long as these 3 units are alive, then he is going to proc that 77% chance, or 77% damage reduction against any of these enemies. So just keep those guys alive and you'll be fine. The God Goku will be tanking massively for you. Okay, so next up, we've got Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku. Now, this guy's aged out of the meta quite a bit. He's definitely not nearly as good defensively as some of these other units, but the reason that I brought him in is because he does have a medium chance of stunning, which is definitely not something to be looked over. So if you are... so let's see, he's got 130% stats at the start of turn. He's got a high chance of changing tech key spheres. Wait, let's see. Changing any key sphere to rainbow except for tech. And then he gets an additional attack and defense 30% per rainbow key sphere obtained, and then attacks effective against all types for 7 turns. So he's going to be doing a lot of damage if you get him like 3 or plus rainbow key spheres. That could be very, very nice for you. Because if he gets some of these raises right here, he's got attacks effective against all types, so that's nice. And then if you get some additionals from his hidden potential, he's going to get multiple attack and defense raises on his super as well as multiple chances to proc this medium stun chance here. You can actually find that this guy is going to be pretty solid. He can perform pretty well. The other thing to mention is that if he does proc this rainbow key sphere changing here, that's going to help out quite a few units, because there are a lot of units on the Movie Heroes team that depend on these rainbow key spheres. The LR Gods included, right? So if you, if you have another Rainbow Key Sphere changer on the team, that is very, very helpful. So yeah, this guy can be a pretty decent option for you as well if you're lacking other units. So then we've got the ROF Blues that just came out. They are going to be pretty decent. Definitely not one of the better Dokkan Fest exclusives to release recently, but they do have some value on this team for sure. Definitely not completely useless. It just is a little bit iffy that they don't raise defense on their super. They're only raising attack there, so that's going to be a little bit tough for them. But they get Key 3, launch an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack for the 3 turns from the start of turn. So they have, you know, built-in additionals, which is nice. It's going to help get some of those attack raises going. And then they get an additional attack and defense 50% when performing a super attack. So they do get some additional defense on super there, which is nice. And then they're also getting some stat boosts for the first 4 attacks performed. So if you've got some additionals in their hidden potential as well, then they can build up these stats quite a bit and then look decent there. And then their exchange doesn't happen until the 4th turn of battle, which is, you know, again, kind of crappy because the 4th turn is probably about the end of the battle anyway, so you're not going to be able to see the Vegeta do much here. But if you do, you know, get him out for that final turn or something, then he is going to do wonders for you, because this guy is really, really solid. Once you bring him out, he's got pretty solid defense. Okay, so then we've got the God Vegeta. This guy is definitely more hit or miss. I only brought him on here because he has this high chance of guarding all attacks. If he has this high chance of guarding attacks, if it procs, then you're going to be looking pretty solid. He's also got this great chance to stun the attacked enemy when there's a movie boss category enemy. So same thing as the God Goku. If you just leave the leader, the Turles, Bojack, and Slug alive, then he's going to have a great chance of stunning as well, which is super helpful for Super Battle Road. So this guy has some use here, but he's a little bit RNG dependent for sure. Alright, and then we've got this STR Piccolo. Definitely not as good as the other STR Piccolo that we went over, but this guy has a medium chance of stunning all enemies as well. So he's got that AoE with the medium chance to stun. That is super solid. 200% stats at the start of turn, as well as the defense raise on super is nice. And then he is going to be an STR Orb Changer, and he gets an additional 20% stats per key sphere obtained. So that's going to be really nice. That's going to help you with some passive healing as well, if you're able to select like a giant chunk of STR Orbs with him. And then he is going to get some additional buffs here if you're only facing one enemy. And then he gets a guaranteed crit and key 6 when facing 2 or more enemies once only. So basically the first time that he shows up when you've got multiple enemies on, he's going to be guaranteed critting and attacking all of them with a medium chance to stun. So that's pretty solid. And if you get some additional attacks off in his, in his hidden potential, then he's going to be really solid as well, getting you some extra chances to get those stuns off. Okay, so the last unit that I wanted to mention here really quick is this Tech Jocko. This guy could be quite a force to be reckoned with, believe it or not. There is some cheeky ways to go about using him. So he's got this passive here, May Stun All Enemies. What this actually means is for the first time that he appears in battle, he is guaranteed to stun the entire enemy field. That's what this ability means. I have no idea why they've chosen to word it this way and why they've never fixed it over the years, considering how often people use these cards. Yeah, so this guy could be a decent strategy because there's so many strong attackers that we've just gone over. There's so many amazing units that have a million additional attacks that they can do, so many attack and defense raises that they're just going to be plowing through the enemies. So it can be a really, really solid strategy to throw this guy on the team, because if he shows up, all the enemies are going to be stunned. You don't have to worry about where you place units in your rotation or anything like that. You're not going to have to worry about using items or taking any damage, and then you can just let the strongest units on your team go absolutely nuts and plow through the entire enemy field. And if you're able to do that quick enough, you may be able to just chain these stuns for every single fight, and not have to worry about much of anything. If you're able to get him off on the first turn of the fight, each phase of the Super Battle Road, then this guy could be a really solid option. So I think I probably will make a video beating the Movie Hero Super Battle Road with this guy on the team, just to show what that's like. Okay, so real quick, let's go ahead and jump over in game, and I will show you guys some of the team builds that I put together. So this is the team that I plan to try to no-item the stage with initially. I'm definitely thinking the Gamma 1 is the strongest defensive unit that you can use as far as the leader skill characters go. So having 2 Gamma 1s there is going to be nice, and having a Gamma 2 on the team linked up with him is going to be very helpful for our attack stats. So those are going to be our main attackers. Everyone else here is just here to feed defense, right? So we've got the AGL Jocko that's going to help out with the stunning and dodging. We've got the AGL Gotenks that's going to help with a lot of dodging, or stunning. And then we've got the Godku, who's going to be a wonderful tank for us, and the Piccolo, who's going to be a wonderful tank as well. So I think this is a very well-rounded team that's going to, do some work for sure in the Super Battle Road stage. Okay, so the next team I built here is an LR Gods team. They're going to be, a pretty solid option here as well. You keep them linked up with the God Goku. They can do some work for sure. And then, you've got the ROF Blues and the Carnival Goku here that are going to be pretty solid attackers for you with some decent defense. And then you've got some more defensive support here with the Pikkon and Jocko. I think it's important to note that Pikkon pairs well with the ROF Blues and the Carnival Goku because both of these units have some pretty strong defensive capabilities, but they're just a little bit lacking. So if you happen to have Pikkon on the rotation and he's able to give that 30% buff to them, that is going to help them out quite a bit, and they'll be able to perform a little bit better for you. Okay, so this final team that I've brought here is an interesting one. This is the team build that I maybe plan to try out the Tech Jocko here with. So basically the idea behind this team is attack power. I just wanted the most amount of attack power that I could put into one team. And this is what I came up with. So basically having Gamma 2 as the leader and the friend leader is just going to mean loads of damage. For sure, loads of damage. And then, having the Gamma 1 there, as well as, the LR Gods and then the LR Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta. We're just going to be absolutely plowing through the enemies. I imagine that we could get through each of these stages in just 2 turns. So we could have the Tech Jocko on with the first rotation, destroy most of the enemies, and then while he's off rotation, finish up the fight with whatever other attacks we need to do, and then move on to the second fight and repeat the process until we win. So that is the idea with this team here. So that is going to do it for this one. I hope that you guys enjoyed that very in-depth guide here. Hope that you found it helpful. Let me know what teams you plan to use to, take on the Super Battle Road stage for yourself. And if you enjoyed that one, then consider being a part of the Toxic Tribe with the like, comment, and subscribe on the video. That is going to do it for this one, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.